NASCAR is sitting on a decision right now that could end Bubba Wallace's season before summer. And the part that nobody is talking about is that NASCAR might not have a choice. Here's what makes this different from every other Talladega wreck you've seen analyzed. This isn't about the crash. It's about whether NASCAR has been lying to everyone about how they handle these situations. Because if they let this go, the rulebook becomes a suggestion. And if they don't, they open a door they can never close. Stick with me to the end, because I'm going to ask you a question, and I want one word from you in the comments. That's it. One word: Talladega. The one track where everything can go wrong in under 2 seconds. Pack racing. 40 cars separated by inches. 3 wide at 200 miles per hour. Every driver knows. One wrong move, and it's not just your race that's over. The tension going into this race was already high. The weather, the pressure, the points standings, everything was coiled. And everyone in the garage knew the big one was coming. And then it did. Smoke. Metal. No escape. 20 cars destroyed in under 4 seconds. But here's the thing. I've watched this crash 17 times. And the crash itself is not the story. What happened in the 3 seconds before it? That's the story. Watch Bubba Wallace's car right here. Most people are already looking at the smoke. Most people miss this. Watch his line. Watch the moment he moves. At full speed, it looks like normal superspeedway racing. Completely normal. But slow it down. There's one detail in this footage that changes the entire conversation. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But before I show you exactly what I'm looking at, you need to understand why this detail matters. Because without the context, it means nothing. With the context, it means everything. NASCAR has a rule. Avoidable contact. It sounds simple. It's not. Because avoidable is a judgment call. And judgment calls at NASCAR have a history. A pattern, actually. And that pattern is exactly what's on trial here. Okay, here's the detail. Right here. This moment. Watch the lane change. The timing. The gap. The angle. In normal racing, you don't think twice about this. But NASCAR's review team doesn't watch racing. They watch decision-making. And this decision is exactly the kind of thing that ends up in a penalty letter. If NASCAR rules this intentional or even reckless by their standard, this isn't a crash anymore. This is a violation. And violations have consequences. Fines, points, penalties, suspensions. We're talking about a driver who's already under a microscope. Every move Bubba Wallace makes gets analyzed by 2 groups of people. The people who want him to fail, and the people who need him to succeed. NASCAR knows this. So whatever they decide, they know it's going to be loud, but here's where I stop talking about Bubba Wallace and start talking about NASCAR, because this has happened before. Same type of move. Completely different outcomes. One driver walks. One driver gets docked. And NASCAR's explanation? Every situation is unique. Translation: we decide case by case, and we don't owe you an explanation, so this stopped being about Bubba Wallace the moment that penalty letter either arrived or didn't. This is about whether NASCAR has a real standard or just the idea of one. Because a standard that only applies sometimes isn't a standard. It's a preference. Superspeedways are chaos by design. Nobody has full control. Drafting changes everything in milliseconds. Drivers aren't making clean, calculated decisions. They're reacting. If NASCAR penalizes every move that triggered a wreck at Talladega, half the field gets a letter every single race. But there's a difference between reacting and choosing. And what we saw in that footage looks like a choice. A small one. A fast one. But a choice. And if you're the driver who lost a $500,000 car because of someone else's choice, racing incident doesn't feel like enough. Here's the corner NASCAR has painted itself into. If they ignore it, they're saying this is acceptable racing behavior. Full stop. Every driver will know, you can do this. At Talladega, anything goes. But if they penalize it, they're admitting that their premier superspeedway race is fundamentally unsafe. That drivers are making moves that NASCAR itself considers reckless. That the big one isn't just an accident. It's a product of the environment they created. And once NASCAR admits that they have a much bigger problem than Bubba Wallace, so will NASCAR suspend Bubba Wallace? Right now, not confirmed. But the footage is in their hands. The precedent is on the table. And the pressure from both sides of the fanbase is building. My red, NASCAR does something, but stops short of a suspension. A fine. Maybe points. Enough to say they acted. Not enough to set a precedent they can't live with. But I've been wrong about NASCAR before. So here's your one word. Was what you saw in that footage just racing, or did Bubba Wallace go too far? Drop it below. No paragraphs, no essays. One word: racing or too far. And if the comments are split 50-50ths, I'm doing a follow-up, because that means nobody actually agrees on what the rules mean. If you want NASCAR coverage that doesn't pretend the politics don't exist, subscribe, because this conversation is not over. And next time, it might not even be about the track.